Okay, time for another video. It's been a while. I've been a bit sick this past week. You can probably tell, or you may be able to tell in my voice that things are not as they should be. However, that being said, I've got to get back to work at some time. So we'll see how it goes. I'll see if I can make a video here without being too sick on the microphone. So let me see, what do we have here? Okay, so two-part question. There are many people who go to live in different countries. Question 1. To what extent should people be allowed to move freely between countries and live where they choose? Question 2. What are the benefits and drawbacks of this? Okay. So let's take a look at my sample introduction first. We'll take a look at yours. So there are a number of people. So I'll show you the paraphrase. Many people, a number of people who go to live in different countries, who choose to move around the world and live in different countries. I believe that freedom of movement between countries should not be allowed unless based on certain criteria. Okay, that's my answer for question 1. To what extent? So it's asking me. I believe that freedom of movement should not be allowed unless based on certain criteria. So what I would be talking about there in paragraph 2 would be about, like they have now in Australia and Canada, where they have like a points system. So you get certain points if you can speak English, certain points if you have a job, certain points if you have a certain skill. Hence certain criteria of which I speak. Answer to question 2. What's the benefits and drawbacks? What's the advantages, the disadvantages, pros and cons? Well, I also believe the advantages of limited, and this is the theme which I do actually use in the essay, can be seen in allowing skilled workers to come to a country. So I do have a sample essay for this. I might show you it a bit later. And I'm talking about, instead of just having random people turning up in a country with no skill, I'm talking about having people like doctors or science. Well, usually it's doctors or IT guys, etc. I mean, like in Australia, I had some students a while back, and they were doctors. They want to go and live in Australia, and I had some other students, most of whom were Russian, Ukrainian, and they were all in IT. So those kind of skilled workers can be a benefit to a country. But what's the drawbacks? Well, the disadvantages can be the changing in demographics. So I'm here talking about when too many people from one region or country move into another, people with higher birth rates. I mean, for example, and I'm not saying this is a good thing or a bad thing. However, if you look at the birth rates, many countries in sub-Saharan Africa, the average birth rates are 6, whereas in most Western countries it's below 2, which is why we have a demographic crisis in several countries in in Europe in general. So, anyway, that's a disadvantages which I would be speaking about in this essay. So, that being said, let's have a look at what you say. Okay, it is true to say that nowadays the number of people going abroad to live is increasing rapidly. Okay, that's good. Check the topic, does it say? Many people go to live in different countries. Good paraphrase. I think there should be precise reasons for people to move to a foreign country for the rest of their lives. Does it specifically say rest of their lives? I mean, it doesn't really say that. It's should we have free movement? You know, it's like I've lived in several countries around the world, not on a permanent basis, of course, but to what extent should people be allowed to move? So it doesn't strictly say about for the rest of their lives, although this may have positive aspects. Now, you would have to tell me what they might be. It can cost the country. What country? Due to problems related to brain drain. Now, I see where it's going, but it's talking about the general benefit of free movement between countries. So, although this may have positive aspects which you don't really say, I mean, here I say, you know, one of the advantages is allowing skilled workers. You know, so it's like using the doctor example again. Doctors from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, etc., wanting to move to the UK, to give a specific example. But you don't say anything about what these... So, you know, this may have positive aspects, but what are they? It can cost a country... Now, are you talking about the receiving country or the sending? I think you're talking about the sending country. So you have to specify what country you're talking about due to problems related to brain drain. And this is a valid point. Of course, it depends what you're talking about. I mean, for example, some people might claim that if a country with a better developed economy, for example, such as the UK or Germany, takes in a lot of doctors from Ukraine or Slovakia, etc., that can cause a problem for healthcare in the sending countries, which could well be true, and it's happening in many places around the world. So this isn't bad, this is good, but you need, you know, to make this better, I would have, in the same way that you've briefly given us some hint as to what you think the disadvantages are, you really need to put something about what you think the advantages are, and that would be fine then. HNT. Oh, some people move some people move to another country because some stuffs they want. Okay. Some stuffs. What you mean? Because they want to have a better life. That's not very good. They don't. How do you spell? Is it the E after the I? Yeah. They don't achieve them in their countries. Many people immigrate for favourable lifestyle and more modification. These people want to remission their jobs or education. Some guys are curious and like to experience. Yes, well, I'm not going to make any further comment on that. I think I would forget about IELTS and I would concentrate on improving your general English, because this has many problems and I'm not in the mood to type or to rewrite the entire introduction. So I would forget about the IELTS test if I were you. That's not to be unkind, but there's too many very general basic English mistakes, unless you're looking for an IELTS score of 4, in which case you might be okay. But if you're wanting anything higher, I think work on your general English instead. Many people go to different countries to have new lifestyles there. Okay. I believe that people must be free to choose where they live, but we don't need that comma. They have to pay it costs. What? Their costs? Or what does this pronoun it refer to? In both own and destination, but they have to pay for the costs in both. I think this is what you mean. Both for own and destination countries. Not sure what that is referring to, but okay. It has its upside and its downside. It has it upside. What is it? Just one upside or upsides and downsides? cultural for all parts of this thing. Right. Yeah, so I think some of the phrasing here needs a little bit of reworking, I think. Again, I don't want to be overly harsh, but I'm not in the mood really to rewrite everybody's introductions. Because it was all in terms of economical and cultural what? Well, economical and cultural are adjectives, so where's the noun? Economical what? Cultural what? For all parts of this phenomenon. What phenomenon are you referring to? It should be considered. Well, that doesn't really answer the question. Nowadays, there has been abundant immigration around the world. Okay, good. In my point of view, countries can't receive plenty of immigrants since they disturb the life of indigenous people. Most people cannot have the freedom to reside wherever they want. Okay, good. The problems are shrinking of job opportunities, because it's usually opportunities in general, so we make it a plural, as well as accommodation for natives. However, immigrants could fill some job vacancies, and with tax revenue they can be helpful in the country's economic progress. That's pretty good. Maybe a little bit more detailed, strictly speaking, when you need for an introduction, but that is pretty good. So, plenty of immigration, okay. Can't have too many. So people cannot have the freedom. So that's basically answering question 1, which you'd have to explain a little bit more in paragraph 2. And then the problems are lack of housing and lack of jobs. Because if you've got more and more people coming into a country, obviously these people need somewhere to live and they need a job. So, so that's pretty good. Pretty good. No complaints with that one at all. Okay, there are some people who opt to live in other countries. In my opinion, people should go to any countries or any countries to live freely. Should instead of could. Should or can. Should means that it would be good for them to go, but we don't have to. So maybe people should be allowed to instead of they should go to. Okay. The promotion should be capitalized. The promotion of economic development due to a migrant's contribution to How does a migrant generate money? How do they do that? You'd have to explain that. One of the main advantages of this trend, when lack of wealth in some receiving countries. Okay, that's pretty okay. That's pretty good. Be interested to read the rest of it and see where exactly it's going. I think I've got the reader, the examiner would have a pretty good idea of where this essay was going. You think people should be able to live in a country, and they would help the development of that particular country. However, could lead to a lack of welfare and healthcare service or services. You'd have to explain that a bit. If you mean too many people causing a strain, then that is probably true, because that's what we are seeing in the UK right now. Okay, let's see this next introduction. Many people, apart from their nationality. What does that mean? Tend to pass what they have a tendency to. Why would you use that verb? I have a tendency. I have a tendency to overeat. I have a tendency to be lazy. I have a tendency to pass national borders. I think maybe a slightly different verb might work there. Having been allowed to live there as a new home, in their new home. Migrants will get a chance to improve their lifestyle. Okay. This trend, however, causes some negative consequences. So the question is, what's the benefits of free movement between countries? Benefits. Well, benefits to the migrants. Are there any benefits to the receiving country? You'd have to flesh this out a little bit in paragraph 2. This trend, however, causes some negative consequences. Most host countries, those mainly would be culture shock and lack of job opportunities, respectively. Okay, that's not bad. That introductory sentence could be phrased a little better. I think it's slightly confusing. I see what you've tried to do in paraphrase, but it's not quite the same. Nowadays, there are a high number of people who immigrate. Well, if you are going, you emigrate. When you arrive, you are an immigrant who emigrate to different parts of the world to settle down. The relocation of people between different nations should be more relaxed, as it supports the countries. This is a bit long sentence, isn't it? The relocation of people between different nations should be more relaxed, as it supports the country's economy, as the majority of the immigrants are young and healthy, would generate revenue in the form of taxes on their earnings. That needs to be cut down a little bit. It's a bit unwieldy as it currently stands. The advantages of immigration. Okay, this seems like you are giving a reason. Now, what you have to do is answer the question, to what extent, yes, people should be able to move. And then in paragraph 2, you would write this as an explanation, a reason, an example for why you think that people should be allowed to move. So you don't, strictly speaking, answer question 1 here. So it's asking, what do you think, to what extent? So you need to clearly say, yes, I think it's good, no, I think it's bad. So this is an example. This should be in paragraph 2. So that's not bad, but again, that could possibly work better in paragraph 2. So the advantage of immigration, better job opportunities with higher wages. That's the advantage for the immigrants. And the disadvantage is discrimination based on nationality. Discrimination. Well, what does that mean? Are you talking about economic discrimination? So it's better job opportunities, but how discrimination? What kind of discrimination are you talking about? Okay, but still, that gives the reader a good sense of where the essay is going. Okay, so not too bad, not too bad. I'll just pause on this for a moment. So you can see the topic, my introduction, and how I've answered the questions. Okay, and as I say, most of these are not too bad. For this one, I would, as you mention a negative, give us some idea of what you believe to be a positive. As I said, this one I don't really want to comment about it, except I think I would forget the IELTS for the time being. Just work in your general English. There's some ideas here, but it's very difficult to unpick. And I'm not even going to try it. I'd have to rewrite a whole introduction. So this needs to be fleshed out a bit. You've answered question 1, yes, but question 2, you don't really say what those upsides and downsides are. So maybe flesh those out a little. You don't have to say a lot, but just give us some more idea. Okay, that's good. That's good. Apart from that sentence that could do with being reworded, that's good. And not too bad, not too bad. As I say, I would probably put this in your paragraph, not in the introduction. But still, there you go. Not too bad, not too bad at all. So I'll post another topic, and I'll see you next time. hopefully my voice will be a little better by next week. I certainly hope so, and I hope that it hasn't been too incomprehensible today. I've had to pause this video about 20 or 30 times because I couldn't stop coughing, but what can you do, you know? Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.